Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. I'm GetGoodGuy, and today we're talking about the support class, or more specifically, LMGs in the support class, and whether I was wrong about them. Wrong how, you might say? Well, previously I've talked about two different aspects of playing with an LMG that pertain to what I'm going to focus on today. Firstly was a video about how I thought playing support was now boring, and then more recently, a video about what I called the bipod problem. I'll give you a brief rundown of my main points from these two videos. When I said that I didn't find playing support exciting anymore, it was due to the TTK 2.0 patch changes. I stated that it now felt pretty limiting to use an LMG due to poor hip fire, slow ADS times, huge spread if you fire before going into ADS, and a reliance on the bipod. Then in my video about the bipod problem, I expanded on the last point by going into greater detail as to why I felt like bipod usage being so heavily incentivized could be bad for the playing experience of both those using an LMG and those playing against them. If you'd like the full explanations, I'll link to both videos in the description and my pinned comment. And this brings us to today. So why am I addressing these statements? Well, if I potentially change my mind about some information or a statement of any significance that I put out to you guys, I feel like sometimes it's a good practice to make it known. I think it's important for you to have a constant and evolving framework of information rather than just bursts of points here and there which never alter or evolve, and I never then say if I think I was incorrect or perhaps somewhat off the mark. I mean, realistically, why would you watch me if you feel like anytime I get something wrong, I'll just stick to it? The thought process for today's video has been inspired by my recent play. If you've been around the channel recently, you may have noticed a fair amount of LMG usage. That hasn't been part of a purposeful dedicated focus or anything along those lines. It's somewhat coincidental. However, I may have been subconsciously influenced in my choice of video subjects due to actually having fun with the support class. I definitely wasn't having a bad time using LMGs, and when I think about it, I've absolutely had both fun and success with them of late. It seems far more likely I'd have this sudden burst of interest in using them due to receiving dopamine rushes of enjoyment as opposed to rage-filled sessions of disappointment and frustration. So what's new? Why the change? Well, firstly is a slight alteration in my playstyle, or I guess my thinking while playing. I near constantly try to self-analyze and improve, and in terms of support usage, this resulted in me realizing that I was being somewhat negative about Battlefield 1 and some aspects of it, and so I started to accept deaths more so and honed in on turning around bad experiences so I could still end up being successful. This has been important when using the support class, or when using LMGs I should maybe say, as they aren't the most versatile as a group of weapons. There is a vast array of options with different strengths and weaknesses, but generally you have to be somewhat regimented in your usage. Use the bipod for range, don't get too close with lots of them, etc, etc. And so I found that I personally will die more when using a support, at least if I use it in a certain fashion, as there will be some scenarios that you can't possibly see coming and can't react to with an LMG or certain LMGs, which you could do with say a medic rifle, because medic weapons are just damn good at near everything it seems right now. Following on from this was an actual mechanical change, that being a hard focus on trying to choose if I'm going to hip fire or aim down sight. That might sound a little odd, but with most weapons I play on the fly, free in the knowledge that I can switch between ADS and hip fire as I please without significant ramifications. Not so with an LMG. Your spread will be insane if you transition from hip fire to ADS while shooting, so I consciously started making sure I was only firing after aiming down sight, if I was required to. This might sound like a small change, but it's made a truly huge difference. I think I was struggling with this before because it was a new mechanic. It didn't make much logical real-world sense to me, and I was just so used to pre-firing before going into ADS. It was built into my muscle memory. Shaking that off has seen me make significant improvements in recent times. All of this together means I'm not bored when using support. I'm having fun and I'm being successful. I'm not finding the negative aspects I've previously discussed to be as big a deal at this current point. So was I wrong? Well, I'd say not fully, but partially. It can't be argued that LMGs are limited, especially at close range, by the ADS slowdown and spread effects, which can inherently make LMG usage somewhat less exciting. But it is possible to contest at close range, even with LMGs not specifically designed for it, as I've displayed in recent videos. Plus you've got the BAR, the Burton, the Parabellum, etc. if you really want to focus on close quarters fights. And therefore the bipod issue isn't quite as big a deal as I initially thought, by virtue of run and gun play being more possible in my mind than before. That being said, it is still generally more limited as a class. The bipod is beyond powerful, and thus usage of it is very heavily incentivized, and support is still by far the least popular class according to usage stats for the entire playing population. So I personally still like to see the support class be just a tad more versatile in future future releases and tone down the bipod effectiveness by just a small amount. I don't want it to transition into being just a large mag assault weapon class or anything like that. I just like it to be a little more versatile. But either way, I'm having fun with it and I don't think its drawbacks are as vast as I used to. So what do you think of the support class and LMG usage? Is it in a good spot? Whether your answer is yes or no, let me know why in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, it would be great if you could hit the like button, it would really help, as would a subscription if you're new here, and turn on those notifications with the bell button so you're less likely to miss out on future content. Now let's go over to the board of awesome for the epic people who support the channel on Patreon. That Patreon support allows me to make this many videos and spend this much time on them. Otherwise I'd need to spend a lot of time at another job. So thank you so much to everybody on here. If you want to join them on the board of awesome, the link to the Patreon page is in the description and my pinned comment. And with that all said, I'm GetGoodGuy and I'll see you next time. Laters.